Hello and welcome to Ask Uncle Sam about patriotic cocktails. Alan asked me to come back again this year and share with all of his friends some great cocktails that you can have while celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of this great nation. 250 years is a few years, so hopefully I don't forget anything as I make these cocktails, but you know what happens with age, you do start to forget things. But I do remember a lot of great times as this nation started out and grew to be such a wonderful place. Stay with me as we delve into 4 great cocktails for your enjoyment over the 4th of July. Welcome to Ask Uncle Sam about patriotic cocktails. We are going to go over 4 cocktails this time, and next week, just before the 4th of July, we'll go over 4 more. These are a little bit different. They kind of cover a breadth of types of cocktails, from tiki to more like a sour type of a drink, various cocktails that I'll show you. And most of them you can do with simple ingredients, but some things, especially if you want to do it low carb, you'll need to put a little bit of effort behind. So the first one that I'm going to start with is something that's made originally with cola, but it's a cherry drink. And the cherries come from the other ingredients, the cherry taste, but I thought might as well use cherry cola since Alan had that here. So I did use the cherry cola and made some ice cubes out of that because this is actually a slushy drink. And we will make that here and see how that goes. I haven't made it ahead of time, so hopefully this works the way I expect it to. So Alan's got this nice thing called a NutriBullet, which does a great job on things that making slushies and things. So with this, if you take approximately 14 ounces of a cherry cola or a regular cola, if you just want to get the cherries flavor from the other ingredients, and you freeze that, and then you put those frozen cola cubes into the mixer. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit enough of these in there, but it's a little bit less than probably should have had, but we'll put a little bit of cola with it. To make up the difference. Then, it really should have had half frozen, and I think that I should maybe take a little bit of these out and put the rest in as liquid. Then we add lime juice, 1 ounce, two ounces of bourbon. And Alan had picked this up. It's an American first bourbon to celebrate 250 years of being a country, so that's what we will use. It's a 93 or 94 proof bourbon. And the cherry cola, and half of that should be the ice, and I've got a little bit more than that, and frozen cherries. Pull one of those out. Frozen cherries is supposed to have a cut. Now, I have quite a bit of stuff in here. I'm not sure how to get it all in, but we will try to get it all in. Now that's quite full, maybe over full from what you're supposed to have in here, but let's see if we can get this to work. And we'll run the blender. And pour that into a glass. It's going to be very, very slushy. So we'll try to get this to go into the glass. And that's more that's going to fit, but save the rest for another drink. And then we garnish this with a lime wheel and a cherry. And we'll just set cherry on top, maybe 2. And this is quite slushy, so we will use a straw. That is exceptionally good. Not a lot of alcohol in that, only 2 ounces of bourbon, but this is an unbelievably good drink. So let me clean this mess up and move on to the other drink, which is similar. It's another slushy drink, but made slightly different. So the next cocktail is also a cherry cola, but in this case, it's a margarita slushy. So with that, you take 16 to 20 ounces of cherry cola. So I will add in some of the frozen cola, which in this one you can also do it frozen. The cubes, put in the cola. Then what you add to this are cherry popsicles. And the original recipe was for two drinks, and that had 3 popsicles. But I'm only making 1 drink, so I went ahead and did 2 full popsicles for that. The third one we can have as for garnish if we wish. And then tequila. It's 1.5 ounces of tequila. Might want to make put a little bit more in there. I'm going to go ahead and put 2. Lime juice again. And the lime juice is a full ounce. And this takes amaretto. And Alan's been using this amaretto syrup instead of using Di Serono because there's a lot of sugar in Di Serono. And this is a sugar-free amaretto. So you don't get any carbs. And there's a 1/2 ounce. And then cherry juice or syrup. And there's this sugar-free cherry syrup, or you can use the juice out of your cherries if you wish, or buy some cherry juice, whichever works out. So this is a 1/2 ounce of cherry juice. Or syrup, in this case. And you blend until it's broken down. Then you pour this into a margarita glass. This is not as thick as the other one, but that's looking pretty good, and there's enough in there for a couple drinks. Again, I was taking recipes meant for a blender for for a couple of drinks, and this is coming out with a lot more than I expected. So the garnish with this, again, is a lime well. And we'll hold off on the maraschino cherries, and we will, it says that you can put a popsicle for a garnish. So sure, we'll try that. So there is a cherry cola margarita slushie. That's very good too. And because we're using low or no carb ingredients, this should have very little carbs, if any, and that is the next cocktail. Both of these first two were slushy versions and are very good and nice for a hot summer's day. And I think you'll enjoy these on the 4th of July. So we will move on as soon as I once again clean up to another cocktail. The next cocktail is called a black-eyed rye. It's supposed to use blackberry syrup. But if you don't have blackberry syrup, you can just use simple syrup and muddle a couple of blackberries before you start. So we will take probably, it's only 3/4 of an ounce, so we'll do one good-sized blackberry. And 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, which has been made with a sugar substitute. So you'll get very little carbs out of a single blackberry. And we'll muddle that. And that will give us, effectively, blackberry syrup. And with that, we will add the rye whiskey, 1.5 ounces. And any rye whiskey will do. This is a very good one, but Alan often will use something like Rittenhouse, which is also a very good rye, but it's a much lower cost. Then the lime juice, 1/2 ounce. Blackberry syrup is in, and then we will shake this and put it into a Collins glass, and then add ginger beer on top. Then we will add a little bit of ice. And 3 ounces of ginger beer, and Alan uses whichever ginger beer happens to be on hand, and then when he doesn't use it all, he puts it in a little jar. So we'll make sure we get 3 ounces here just to be right amount, but you can just top it with whatever amount you have, and that should be fine. Then we will garnish this mint sprigs and skewered blackberries. So mint sprig is here, and skewered blackberries. And that is the black-eyed rye. Also, an exceptionally good drink. So we're going to do one more this week, and then we'll do 4 next week. And I'll need to clean up here a second, and then I'll get right back to you. Now, for the final drink, we are going to make something a little bit tiki. And might as well use a tiki mug. Doesn't seem too American, but you know, we have been down in the islands and spent some time down there, and I think tiki for 4th of July and especially the 250th birthday, it's a perfect drink. So again, this is a rum drink, and in a shaker we will take 2 ounces of dark rum. Any dark rum will do. Plantation is a decent dark rum. Then we add in the cream of coconut. Now, cream of coconut, when you buy it in the store, you'll get something that's full of sugar. Instead, Alan makes this himself. He takes coconut cream, which just has whatever carbs are in a coconut cream, and this time he used an organic coconut cream that has 6 carbs in the whole can. So what he made here, the total in here is 6 carbs. And I don't know what the total amount he ended up with is. This had 5 ounces plus the added allulose in this case, or Splenda. So you can, to make cream of coconut, take coconut cream, which has basically no carbs, or very low carbs, and you add equal amounts of the coconut cream and sugar or a sugar substitute and a pinch of salt. And you heat that over the stove on a low heat to get it to dissolve the sugars. And then you have a very low carb cream of coconut. And in this case, there's 1.5 ounces. And cream of coconut is very good, and if you do the low carb version, you're much better, because what you get in the store is really high in sugar. Then we have 1.5 of pineapple juice, and Alan always likes to use this light pineapple juice. This has 6 full ounces, is 10, so 1.5 ounces. I'm not going to do the math, it'll show up in the corner. Orange juice. And he'd run out of orange juice, so he took some tangerines and juiced them to get a small amount of liquid. And that's 1 ounce. Normally he uses a light orange juice. So that should be a little more tangy, since that's a tangerine rather than an orange, but it's going to be close. Okay, so we've added the ingredients to the shaker. We'll shake with ice. Then we strain that into the glass that we're using. This may be too large of a glass, but that's what we're going to use. And you have crushed ice in there, which I will add afterwards, after I see how much liquid there is. You definitely need a much smaller glass than that, but that's what we've got. Plenty of crushed ice. Probably could have made a double if you're fitting it into a tiki glass, or you just use a smaller glass. And that is garnished with fresh mint and cinnamon sticks. It also has nutmeg and cinnamon. So we will just sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon. So that was nutmeg, a little bit of nutmeg and a little bit of cinnamon. Here it comes. And we will put garnishes of a cinnamon stick and some mint. And that is a tiki rum cocktail. So that was very good and definitely one that you might want to have as you celebrate the 4th of July. So there are 4 great drinks that you can have to celebrate the 250th anniversary celebration of this great nation. They are very good drinks, and there will be 4 more next week that you will be able to see, and you can pick which ones you want to do for your celebration when the 4th gets here, which will be a few days after the next episode. I thank you for being here. I would like to ask that you do check out the description. All of the recipes for this week are in the description, and all of the information about this channel and where to go to sign up for a Facebook page. But we do ask you to like and subscribe, tell your friends, send this off, share it with them. Help us build the numbers of people that are subscribed to this channel so that Alan will be able to do some other things that YouTube doesn't allow you to do certain things until you get over a certain number, and then you're able to do more on the channel, and that will help him to provide information to all of you to help you to do great cocktails without all the sugars. And again, 250 years, that's a long time, and it's going to be even longer because we're going to do another 250 years, I'm sure, because this is a great nation, and we need to celebrate it. And we will do that and have a great time doing so. Thank you, and come back next week for 4 more great patriotic cocktails.